Hello. Hello. It's me. I have returned. It's a new year, etc. I think everybody knows that by now. It is that time of year to know it's a new year. We didn't have any fireworks last night, which was interesting. But then again, as my wife pointed out, it was raining. And if you say it with that kind of intonation and inflection, everyone will understand the type of rain you are dealing with. That's just science. But yeah, so for most people, I think New Year's Day is a day off or something like that. For me, it's pretty much the same as any other day. I don't believe in time or days. So I think I'm just going to get back to work. I got my little pup down there. She's killing it. Now, today, I'm going to show you something. And I begin. So today, I'm going to show you something a little bit different. This is what I've got. For this entire chapter, I've got one sentence, and it follows up from the previous sentence. So today I'm going to have to look at the blank page, as you can see, and I'm going to try and help people get through the blank page. The blank page is a nightmare. The blank page is the nightmare, I think, for a lot of people. The idea of like, well, I just have to start somewhere. Morning. Go on, my wife just left a couple. Good morning. Hello. Happy New Year. Now I got pups all over the place here. So yeah. So New Year, blank page. I have one prompt, and I will go ahead and write that down. First thing about the blank page, give yourself a prompt. Give yourself just something. Just something. So, Molly was a wild card that wanted to be wild. Her plan was no plan. Her plan was fuck shit up. All right, so none of that matters. Doesn't matter if I keep any of that. That's meaningless. What is meaningful is that now we have our fifth character. We've had the duos of Trin and Raid. We've had the duo of Michael and Khan. Molly is the fifth person. And at the end of the day, she is on the outside compared to the other four. She's the rich girl from King Robes' family, you know? So, she, by her nature as a character, cannot just follow along with the rest of them. If I were to have her do that, it's just false. It's false, and it denies the characterization that I've put up to this point. She has to be in opposition to this plan working the way that it should. Now, the problem is that leads you to one choice, and that is, do I force everyone to get to the conclusion that I want? Or do I allow the characters to get to the conclusion how they want? And that's a very difficult thing to do. You have to, I guess, believe in yourself. Or you have to believe that you understand your characters. Now, we're about 3/4 of the way through at this point, so I better have a clear understanding of these characters. Now, on the other hand, it's also entirely possible that the blank page defeats us. You must first accept that you can lose in order to win. Sure, that makes sense. So we might just wind up switching and playing some Hades. I don't know. Who cares? But in the meantime, let's give it a shot. Boop. Okay. What this means. To her. Backward didn't exist. Not that there was no past, only there was no reason to look for it. To turn back was foolish. To look back must be the same, she reasoned. All right, so there we go. We begin. We can deny that. So now we're writing this here. Now the problem with there was no past, there was no reason to look for it. Also, this is why you have dogs. Sonny, come on. To distract you, to keep you from wallowing. There was no past, there's no reason to look for it. To turn back was foolish. To look back must be the same, she reasoned. Thus, learning from the past was pointless because it would not be again. Looking towards the future was the only thing that mattered. Another of the big things here is what matters. Looking toward, to, not back. Jesus Christ. What a puppy. We edit this part up here. Looking back must be the same. Now we can get rid of must be. At every opportunity, looking back the same, she reasoned. Also, there's another thing that I figured out, and it came to me in a dream last night. Or maybe the night before, whatever. No chapters, just measures. Measure breaks. That's the trick. So it'll be as if each chunk is its own page of music. Thanks. All right. To learn from the past is pointless. The past would not be again. So this is the like counter side of Cindy all the way up there. She always learned from experience. Looking toward the future mattered. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Now we can get rid of looking toward, because we've already used the past enough. The future mattered. Simple. To learn from the past is pointless. The past would not be again. The future mattered. Yeah. From her upbringing. I'm sorry, Fanny. She believed herself capable of making the future change, unlike the lowest income. Her decisions echoed around the world. Her use of the fuel she used in her jet. Jesus Christ. The fuel she used in her jet flying in chase of raid would have effects upon the environment greater than would affect the environment out of there greater than the 99 could use in a lifetime, would affect the environment greater than the 99 could in a lifetime. Good girl, Fanny. All right. Affected the environment greater than a million could in a lifetime. Why can't I highlight in this dumb million? A million. Affected the entire goddamn environment. The poor recycled. Blue bins. Helping offset 1/1 billionth of the tonnage she dropped today. Years of blue bins offsetting one millionth of the tonnage she dropped today. That's not terrible. To the global environment. Poor recycle. Years of blue bins offsetting 1/1,000,000th of the tonnage she dropped. Of her tonnage. The end. Good. What mattered? Okay, here we go. Now what we're doing. Alright, I like this. Alright. Okay. Pull this off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get inside of her head and we're going to ask ourselves, what would she do? What will she do? And will it intersect with Trin's plan in a good way or in a bad way? Because there's nothing to say that she has to do harm to the plan. It's not my job. It's hers. So imagine you're a person who can affect the entire world with your dumb ideas. And you have this point of view. Why would the poor ever recycle? What a waste of their time if every time I fly to blankety blank, I take out their lives, you know? So for so many conversations that we have about whether or not it's important to recycle, imagine the other side of like, how could they think it was important to recycle? Because that guy commutes every week in a private jet, you know? Why would they look at you recycling and think that's smart? So from that point of view, she's going to look at the plan and say that's stupid. It's not enough. Her life is it's not enough. So, there we go. That way, we're not just saying all of that. You have to figure out, that's what's going on. All right, so the poor recycle. Years of blue bins offsetting 1/1,000,000th of her tonnage. What mattered? Molly thought Trin's plan was recycling. What action would affect the global environment as much as a private jet? What could she do that poor couldn't? What is possible? What is possible? So now we ask ourselves the question. What is the most possible thing that people think they can change? That if you were on the other side, you thought you obviously think that you can change far more. So you say to yourselves, you know, like, oh, how can I make a difference? But for her, the question, how can I make a difference, is completely different. What is possible? Theoretically. Theoretically, she could mobilize troops. Whatever era one might live in, for some reason there will always be loyal soldiers. There will always be, for some reason, there are soldiers loyal through. For some reason, there are the servants of the royal, the soldiers of the royal, concerned by blood, but unsure of whose at any on the day. That's better. All right. Theoretically, she could mobilize her troops. Whatever era one might live in, for some reason there are soldiers of the royal, concerned by blood but unsure of whose on the day. But not always sure of whose? No, that's worse. But unsure of whose. Can't stop it there. Never certain. Never certain of whose. Can make that capital. All right. Her father could claim a larger number, but she was not alone. But she was not. She was far from alone? No. But there were still hers. Or we could just say her father could claim a larger number. Whether or not she could claim any at all was untested. Whether she could claim any at all was untested, and therefore the number could very well be 0. A familial cue. Less popular. Was undesired. Was never fully undesired. No royal makes no enemies. But math is math. But the math. But the math. But the math included many variables. almost. Why am I saying almost? I'm the one writing it. But the math included many variables. Molly assumed in his favor. Better not to test it until favor was hers. To fail once was to lose the possibility. To succeed once was to win outright. To fail once. Really focus on this. We're going to put full on. Full on. There we go. Once. You genuinely only have one time. So no, what can she do by herself? She's famous. But she's not famous. Her dad is famous. The name is famous. So if the name is what's famous, she can use the name. How do you use the name? What do names get you? Names get you direct fear from people who can be touched by the name. You can use the name on a lot of things. Her best bet was the name. Tonkin. To use it was the issue. She was not trying to get a table without a reservation. She was trying to change the world. Get a table reserved for lesser. She was trying to change the world. Reserved by smaller names. She was trying to change the world. What would she think her name can do? What would she think her name can do? She was trying to change the world. She doesn't try to get a table. She wasn't stealing a table There we go. She wasn't stealing a table reserved by smaller names. Which means we can... Okay. She was stealing from the largest name. Yeah. Much better. So what does the name do? Where does the name go? How do you steal power from the name? You assume it. You just say you have it, and most people will go, I guess you do. So then what do you steal? You steal money. Money and power are the same. You steal money. You steal a business. You steal a full-on business. You walk into the business and you go, this business is mine, I'm Tonkin, etc. And then before anybody can react, you put everything in your name. So the law has nothing they can say about it. They'd have to sue you. And then, as we all know how that works, you can tie them up in court for forever and ever and ever. And in the meantime, you can steal everything from that. So, let's find us a real business's name. What would King Robes own in Hawaii? What office would be in Hawaii? A self-contained business? Is he hiding money in a tourist business? Okay. When stealing from the name, she knew the best target was what? Already stolen. Thieves stealing from thieves. Who steals the most? Who steals the most? Banks. Who hides the most money in banks? Drug dealers? Who runs the drug trade? George H.W. Bush. Safer. Oh, is that what happened? What the hell happened? What the fuck? Why is this fucking weird? Oh my god. Why? What is happening? Oh my god. We're only... always safer, in a sense. than those who stole from civilians. In one definition of the word, than those who stole from civilians. And in her case, the most unsafe outcome was preferable to any she could survive. That's brutal. That's brutal. What is wrong here? This is the danger of the blank page. What is wrong here? Don't need that. Get rid of that. Here's why. We're going overboard with the soap opera. How to use it. This is not a soap opera. This wasn't stealing a table reserved by smaller names. This was grand theft. Okay. This wasn't stealing a table reserved by smaller names. It was grand theft. Better. When stealing, I will recruit some thieves. Stealing, steal from thieves. Steal with thieves. And who could be on her side? Other people like the Count. So I've just introduced the Count in the last one. Right? So she would probably know the Count, just like but she didn't know the bank manager, but she would know the Count. The Count is big enough and maybe the most annoying, maybe just annoying enough for her to also be aware of. So what is his real name that she would know? Who took over Hope? The Committee of Safety seized power with the help of U.S. Marines, leading to the overthrow. Hawaii. This is fascinating. Here's what's fascinating about this. The Committee of Safety was made up primarily of American and European businessmen. Why aren't their names written down? Why aren't their names very well known? A group of 13 Caucasian businessmen. Where are their names? Was formed by Lauren A. Thurston. All right. Thurston. Thurston sounds like a good name. But seriously, why aren't their names really, really important? Why don't we know everything about their names and hate them and know their children and hate their children? Thurston. The best way to use the name is to go both ways. The best way for her to use the name is to go both ways. The name for people who hate the name and the name for people who love the name, right? So she can use Dr. Tonkin because he, like the Count, is ordered to, and it'll be fun what he's ordered to do. It'll be a nice little fun surprise. So he hates Dr. Tonkin. She can use that name there. Who loves Dr. Tonkin, but wouldn't know that she was not working on his behalf. Who's out of the loop enough not to know? Also the Count. Enlist the biggest, smaller name. That's the way forward. That backward, that in the place. Times, location. In past times, location. What had been done to Timothy Thurston? Timmy Thurston. Nicknamed Thirsty Tim in her youth. That's the Count's real name. Thirsty Tim. That's good. I mean, I don't care if you think it's good. Was unforgivable. But she didn't bother looking back. So there's nothing to forgive. Thank you. Thank you. Can I call you Comrade Skull? with nothing. If no past transgressions exist, or at least they don't matter, so whether they exist or not is irrelevant. We will put that in brackets because her brain is her brain. Then teamwork is simply a matter of will. Then recruitment is simply a matter of will. Recruitment is simply a matter of will. Hers was as great as her name. His was smaller. That's a nice little dick joke too. List the biggest, smallest name. So we don't need that's the way forward. Again, we're inside her thought process here. So these little asides are unnecessary. In past times location, what had been done to Timothy Thurston, nicknamed Thirsty Tim, in her youth was unforgivable. And in his adulthood was unforgiven. But she didn't bother looking back. There's nothing to forgive. If no past transgressions exist, or at least they don't matter, so whether they exist or not is irrelevant, then recruitment is simply a matter of wills. Hers was as great as her name. His was exactly the right size. Hers, we don't need was, because it is. Hers as great as her name. His as small. Much better. Much better. Now, the interesting thing we can do here is if we're doing this by measure, then one of the things that I can just reveal now in fact, he had all but abandoned his name. He traded it for the Count. There you go. So now we have a little, oh, I remember that guy from the past. So, that's not a ton. But as we reach the climax here, like I said, I'm trying to get us to a space where the kaleidoscope accelerates and then comes to just a punch. The idea of descending action in fiction, disgusting. Freight train, wall, end. King Robes held his phone in landscape, watching a live feed of the Count. A drone operator. The best available in haste followed him. Night and day. Count felt the eyes. Felt the eyes. Felt the mechanical eyes. Felt the skying eyes. Felt the mechanical eyes as great as a fucking hobbit. Count felt the mechanical eye. Felt the eyes behind it. He knew they were there. He knew them. Knew they followed. It was not difficult. As they were several thousand strong. It was not difficult. The drones followed him through doors, marked as they were with King Robe's insignia. Their stealth was unnecessary. Stealth was unnecessary and therefore dispensed with. If he wanted you to be followed, if he wanted you, if he followed you, and in keeping with his general style, no. King Robes didn't need you to know he was following you. He needed you to know he was following you. Better. Tone is so hard to do. But we're not writing emails, we're writing fiction. He needed you to know he was following you. He needed you to know he was following you. A mistake was never overlooked. You were always under. You were under. It wasn't difficult. Come on, Jordan. Use contractions like an adult. It wasn't difficult. The drones followed him through doors. Marked as they were with King Robe's insignia, stealth was unnecessary and therefore dispensed with. King Robes didn't need you to know he was following you. He needed you to know he was following you. A mistake was never overlooked. You were under. Thurston. Thurston fulfilled King Robe's intent. He was not under. He wasn't under. He wasn't used to under. He was used to title. To be reminded that the hierarchy had a top, that everyone was below it. Everyone was under. To be reminded that not only was it the 99% versus the 1%, it was the everyone versus him. And I am capitalizing it because I am very subtle. I'm a very subtle author. A lot of people have said that. They've said, Jordan, you know what I love most about you? How fucking subtle you are. That it wasn't just it's not just the 99% versus the 1%. It's everyone against him. It's everyone versus him. We'll capitalize that too. There's no percentage at the top of a pyramid. Less so in the burial. The percentage Jesus Christ. Ugh. Everyone versus him. Percentage had to do with the pyramid, but the one buried there. But the one buried was alone. That kind of makes sense. There was a percentage to the there's a percentage to the pyramid, but there's only one for whom, but it's for one. There we go. All right. Everyone built the pyramid for one. That makes more sense. The pyramid is for one. Mid is for one. The one inside. Not at the top. The pyramid is for the one inside. The one inside. No matter how close to the top you are. No. The metaphor is good, but the writing is terrible. For the one inside. One. Why did I just do that? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. One inside. Even if the top is nicer. Outside is outside. Outside. However, close to the top. Outside is outside. See, this continues the different kind of points of view here. In the institution, everybody's inside, then they're outside. King Robes is inside, in a sense. If that makes sense. And it does, technically. The best kind of making sense. Were he to understand the dynamics at play in full. Perhaps he would have met Molly halfway. as it was, the top of the pyramid was nicer and closer to the sun. Was still closer to the sun. To him, the top of the pyramid was still closer to the sun. All right. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got Molly's mind. Then we've got the Count's mind. But we are still with King Robes. So, how about instead of this, which is nice, we need to get to a place where King Robes is following him and he talks to Molly while they're watching. The question is whether or not I'm comfortable using this as a kind of foreshadowing for the what's to follow, or just maybe I should use that later. Maybe what I should do is put this all the way down here below. Okay, so now I'm putting to him the pyramid was closer to the sun, because that's going to punctuate the end of this chapter. So I've got this metaphor right up here, and then I'm going to close out this little section with, to him, the top of the pyramid was still closer to the sun. That way, you know, we have a nice little poetic circle here. But now this changes everything that I've written to something. Oh shit, I did write something smart. Nice. This changes everything that I'd written up to this point in this chapter. So I'm going to have to redo that. Okay. Okay. Thurston fulfilled King Robes' intent. He wasn't used to under, he was used to title. To be reminded that the hierarchy had a top, that everyone was under, that it's not just the 99% versus the 1%, it's everyone versus him. The pyramid is for the one inside. However close to the top, outside is outside. Okay, not terrible. Through so that means that we've got our little Eye of Sauron moment for King Robes. We've got this little mistake was never overlooked. You were under. Filled his intent. And that means that we pull up a Molly and Thurston call. Dr. Tonkin watched the Count receive a phone call, watched the Count's pocket vibrate, watched him pull out a phone and begin to shake. Memories of trauma clearly trauma clearly written on his face, trauma in his eyes. Trauma in his eyes. Why the hell the drones didn't have a microphone was beyond him. No. I want him to be able to hear it. He answered anyway. Molly? Hey, Thirsty. What's been going on with you? What's new with you? What's up? What's new with you? Hey, Thirsty, how you doing? How you doing? Molly adopted what she thought was her most recruitful tone of voice. Yes, that's right. We have invented a word, recruitful. What else is there to say about how she feels about that voice? Molly adopted what she thought was her most recruitful tone of voice. Have you heard from my dad lately? No. Count lied unnaturally. Lies being born of a necessity he didn't regularly experience. Necessities he didn't regularly experience. Lies born of necessities he didn't regularly experience. Lies are born of necessity, and he was unused to needing. He was unused to need. Did you get an envelope? She knows he's lying. You know he's lying. No. What color was it? Blue. He's very stupid. Rich people, am I right? Oh, are we out of music? Shit. All right. Somebody's got to let me know if we're out of music. Somebody's got to let me know. Okay. Hold on one second. I will be right back. I have to pee real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. It was blue. She knows it wasn't blue. She knows it wasn't blue. Why would he send you an invitation to his birthday party? He didn't send me anything. You just said it was blue. Isn't everything blue in a way? Like the sky. Doing okay, Thirsty? No one's called me that for 30 years. The last guy who called me that is dead. Oh, okay. Carl's dead? No. I mean, no one's dead. Dead. He's like, I'm never going to talk to him again. He's dead to you. Which, to be frank, is not really a punishment. Not really a punishment. It was burnt sienna. Oh, shit. Yeah. For who? I think you know. What if you ignored the envelope? Or what if you instead of doing whatever nonsense he's concocted, you join me and together we can rule the galaxy. To the nonsense I've concocted. Can't spell concocted today, apparently. I can send letters to. And if we win, his letters will be nothing compared to mine. To be frank, that's really not much of a threat. It's not a threat. I don't threaten because I honestly don't know how. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Because I don't know how. A threat exists to suggest that an alternate outcome is possible. I am telling you what is going to happen. You can choose what to do with that information, but it doesn't matter to me. If you get an envelope or not, I'm just going to send them out to whomever deserves them. I'm letting you know now that if you continue on your current path, you will get one. Yeah. You will receive, you'll get a letter. And if you lose, you already got your burnt sienna. Whether I win or lose, you've already lost if I lose. If I lose, you've already got your burnt sienna. That's just letting him know. You've already got your... I can let that trail off. send you blue. Stick with me. Come with me, and you might get something green. 'Cause money. Yeah. Money. Or I'll be dead. Or you'll be dead. The drones, microphones broadcast the conversation to King Rose. Phone to King Rose. Who delighted at his daughter's bullshitting. Delighted by his daughter's bullshitting. Furious at her betrayal. The only choice. The name. What's in Hawaii? What's a business in Hawaii that you can use the name to take over stuff? Where do they all meet? The golf course. You have is life or death, or death or death. The choices you have are life or death, or death or death. I'm giving you a 1 out of 4 chance to live. King Robes heard his daughter's voice at 13 again, telling him sweetly, sweet and sinister untruths. Not bad. Sweet and sinister untruths is not bad. The choices you have are life or death, or death or death. I'm giving you a 1 out of 4 chance. We don't need to live. We all get it. Odds are 1 out of 4. 4 to 1 odds. Yeah. To 1 odds. everyone doesn't die. Not everyone. He doesn't. Not everyone who gets a burnt sienna dies, you know. Everyone who gets a burnt sienna dies. I know. I said the opposite. I corrected you. But he died last year. You want to know how? No. Comically. The only way he does it. In only the way he does. No, she would rather say. Whether or not I can trust him. I mean, I know you. I know I can't trust you. Can't trust him. You don't know shit about me. Look at where I'm at now. I'm on Team Burn It All Down. Can't trust him. You don't know shit about me. Look where I'm at now. I'm on Team Burn It All Down. You were always on that team. Especially when you branded my ass with your fucking Hello Kitty shit. Was a caricature of my cat, and what I did then had more to do with trying to fit in a cruel social circle than was a reflection of my character. I've grown. King Robe's belly laugh echoed throughout the desk. Kitty shit. You were the leader. It was your cat. It's obviously trying fit in as the leader. There we go. That's her. That's the rich bitch. There we are. Found you. Found you. Couldn't handle anymore. That was all Thurston could handle. He tapped the red button to end the call and dramatically slammed his phone. No. And mimed slamming the phone on a receiver. Whatever fate, King Robes, whatever comical fate, whatever comical fate King Robes may conjure, to him, the top of the pyramid was still closer to the sun. That's how it works. That's how you do the thing. That's how you do the thing. All right. Let's see what we got for today. Molly was a wild card that wanted to be wild. Stupid. Molly was a wild card. Stupid that wanted to be wild. We've already started poorly. Molly was a wild card. Her plan was no plan. Her plan was fuck shit up. To her, backward didn't exist. There was no past. There's no reason to look for it. There is no past. There's no reason to look for it. To turn back was foolish. Looking back the same, she reasoned. To turn back is foolish. Looking back the same, she reasoned. To learn from the past is pointless. The past would not be again. The future mattered. From her upbringing, she believed herself capable of making the future change. Unlike the lowest income bracket, her decisions echoed around the world. The fuel she used in her jet, flying in chase of raid, affected the global environment. The poor recycle, years of blue bins offsetting 1/1,000,000th of her tonnage. What mattered? Molly thought Trin's plan was recycling. What action would affect the global environment as much as a private jet? What could she do that the poor couldn't? What is possible? Theoretically, she could mobilize her troops. Whatever era one might live in, for some reason there are soldiers of the Royal, concerned by blood but never certain of whose. Her father could claim a larger number. Whether or not she could claim any at all was untested, and therefore the number could very well be 0. A familial coup was never fully undesired. No royal makes no enemies. But the math included many variables. Molly assumed in his favor. Better not to test it until favor was hers. To fail once was to lose the possibility. To succeed once was to win outright. Her best bet was the name, Tonkin. How to use it. This wasn't stealing a table reserved by smaller names, it was grand theft. and list the biggest smaller name. In past times, location what had been done to Timothy Thirstein, nicknamed Thirsty Tim in her youth, was unforgivable, and in his adulthood was unforgiven. But she didn't bother looking back. There's nothing to forgive. If no past transgressions exist, or at least they don't matter, so whether they exist or not is irrelevant, then recruitment is simply a matter of wills. Hers as great as her name, his as small. In fact, he had all but abandoned his name. He traded it for the Count. Now we see the Count in a different light. We know his name. Good. King Robes held his phone in landscape, watching a live feed of the Count. A drone operator, the best available in haste, followed him night and day. The Count felt the mechanical eye, felt the eyes behind it. He knew them, knew they followed. It wasn't difficult. The drones followed him through doors. Marked as they were with King Robes' insignia, stealth was unnecessary and therefore dispensed with. King Robes didn't need you to know he was following you. He needed you to know he was following you. A mistake was never overlooked. You were under. Thurston fulfilled King Robes' intent. He wasn't used to under, he was used to title. To be reminded that the hierarchy had a top, that everyone was under, that it's not just the 99% versus the 1%, it's everyone versus him. The pyramid is for the one inside. However close to the top, outside is outside. Dr. Tonkin watched the Count's pocket vibrate, watched him pull out a phone and begin to shake, trauma in his eyes. He answered anyway. Molly? Hey, Thirsty, how you doing? Molly adopted what she thought was her most recruitful tone of voice. Have you heard from my dad lately? No. The Count lied unnaturally, lies born of necessity, and he was unused to necessity. He was unused to need. Did you get an envelope? No. What color was it? Blue. Why would he send you an invitation to his birthday party? He didn't send me anything. You just said it was blue. Isn't everything blue in a way? Like the sky or something? You doing okay, Thirsty? No one's called me that for 30 years. The last guy who called me that is dead. Carl's dead? No, I mean, no one's dead. He's like, I'm never going to talk to him again. He's dead to you, which, to be frank, is not really a punishment. It was burnt sienna. Oh, shit. Yeah. For who? I think you know. What if you ignored the envelope? What if instead of doing whatever nonsense he's concocted, you do the nonsense I've concocted? I can send letters too, and if we win, his letters will be nothing compared to mine. To be frank, that's really not much of a threat. It's not a threat. I don't threaten because I don't know how. A threat exists to suggest that an alternate outcome is possible. I am telling you what is going to happen. You can choose what to do with that information, but it doesn't matter to me if you get an envelope or not. I'm just going to send them out to whomever deserves them. I'm letting you know now that if you continue on your current path, you'll get a letter. And if you lose, you've already got your burnt sienna. Come with me and you might get something green. Or I'll be dead. Or you'll be dead. The drone's microphones broadcast the conversation to King Robes, delighted by his daughter's bullshitting, furious at her betrayal. The choices you have are life or death or death or death. 4-to-1 odds. King Robes heard his daughter's voice at 13, telling him sweet and sinister untruths. Not everyone who gets burnt sienna dies, you know. Everyone who gets burnt sienna dies, I know. I said the opposite. I corrected you. But he died last year. You want to know how? No. Comically. The only way he does it. Whether or not I can trust him, I mean, I know you. I know I can't trust you. You can't trust him. You don't know shit about me. Look where I'm at now. I'm on Team Burn It All Down. You were always on that team, especially when you branded my ass with your fucking Hello Kitty shit. It was a caricature of my cat, and what I did then had more to do with trying to fit in a cruel social circle than was a reflection of my character. I've grown. King Robes' belly laugh echoed throughout the desk. You were the leader. It was your cat. I was obviously trying to fit in as the leader. That was all Thurston could handle. He tapped the red button to end the call and mimed slamming the phone on a receiver. Whatever comical fate King Rogues may conjure, to him, the top of the pyramid was still closer to the sun. How about that? Not bad. Not bad. Oh. Okay. I think we're done there. I think we're done for today. Pause. 232908. But maybe I still want to play some Hades. Is anybody watching? We don't have to do it. I'm done writing, though. That's all I've got for today. Let's see. What's our word count? Where are we at today? Oh, God. Oh, God. What is happening? Oh, God. Everything's a disaster. Ah. 34. All right. All right. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. All right. I think that's it. I got to figure this out. I'm going to let this go for today. Have a great day, everybody. Happy New Year. Be safe. You know the deal.